And what I've seen lately is more thought to how I'm playing and where I can exploit mismatches and where I can exploit my size and where can I exploit my unique skill set. The thinking part of it is the growth to me. And we're going to touch more on that later. I do want to get into some of these stats. Okay. So he's number 1 in the league in blocks per game, number 1 in total blocks, number 12 in steals. I said this at the beginning of the year, at some point he's just going to be his own defense, right? He's just going to be his own defense. He had 31-12, 6 assists, 6 blocks in the win versus Pacers. He's the first rookie with 25 points, 5 assists, 5 blocks in consecutive games since blocks became official in 1973, 1974. He's only the 4th player ever to do that in consecutive games. In his last 8, he's averaging 25, 12, and 5 assists and 5.4 blocks on 51-42 shooting splits. He's the 3rd player ever to average that in an 8-game span. He shot 45% on threes his last 12. He's the first player ever in NBA history with 50 blocks and 25 made three-pointers over a 12-game span. Here's what's crazy. This is from Matthew Williams. Shout out to Matthew Williams, our stats guru over at ESPN. He has the most points per minute for a rookie since Michael Jordan in 1984-85. And here's the sort of the icing on the cake for me. He's the only player. Think about this stat. Frame this stat, Jason Gallagher. He's the only player in NBA history with 175 assists, 175 blocks, and 75 made threes in a season. It's March 4th. He's the only NBA player in history to do this. What the fuck?
I don't.
What the fuck?
I said. Yeah. I don't know what you do with that. Like, I think about when we had our earlier conversation, and Steve, I kind of talked about Rookie of the Year as well on the dunker spot, where, early on, specifically when we had our conversation on the old man 3 things, like, I think we all had Chet ahead because of his role within what OKC was doing on both ends of the floor, the efficiency gap. There was also, if you cared about that portion early on in the season, there was a game/minutes gap between the two as well. And now that Wemby is no longer on the minutes restriction, he's playing more consistently, and he's also doing all of this. Like, it's easy to say, yep, this is what it was back in December. This is what it is right now. It's fine to do so. Like, the Wemby stats you just dropped also are just insane. Like, I had some second spectrum stuff about what he's doing coming off screens, some of the pick and roll defense stuff that's gotten, like, that's probably the sceriest part. Like, as he's
I want to hear him. I want to hear him. Let's use these. This is fun. This is fun. Stats are fun. This is the nerd. This is my favorite part of the show. This is why I do this show on Mondays. I want to nerd out, Nikias. Let's go. Give me the stats.
Okay, we'll go very quickly. With Wemby coming off of screens post All-Star break, 1.52 points per possession on those trips when Wemby's coming off of the screen. That's second to Scotty Barnes. Off-ball screens, yeah. Yes. So that is second to Scotty Barnes among 113 players to receive at least 25 of those. As we talk about the usage with Wemby as a screen or a handoff partner, the partnership between him and Devin Vassell has been really good, 1.2 points per possession on those. Post All-Star break, quick salute to Jackson Frank, who just wrote an article about the Spurs and how they're using Wemby there. That sparked the search for me. Among 29 players to defend at least 100 pick and rolls post All-Star break, 0.78 points per possession allowed on those trips. That is second to Brook Lopez. That seems pretty darn good, I would say. And then just in terms of traditional pick and roll duos, 82 with at least 30 reps since the All-Star break. The Trey Jones, Victor Wembanyama pick and roll at 1.38 points per possession is 4th in the league. That is behind Giannis and Brook, Luka Doncic and PJ Washington, and Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis continue to blitz the league with their partnership. So, like, that's some of the stuff. And then on the year, the Spurs with a 113.9 defensive rating with Wemby on the court. Per cleaning the glass, that would be the equivalent of 8th. With him off the floor, not only is it the worst defense in the league, it is the worst defense in the league by nearly 3 points per 100 possessions when he is on the bench.